I'll introduce myself. My name is Jill Strominger, and I am with New Music USA. Tonight, I'm joined by my wonderful colleagues, we have Monisha Chaudhary, who will be speaking a little bit later. I also have Alana Maharaj Stone and Michelle Roman, who are going to be overseeing the chat. New Music USA is a national resource that supports the creation of new music in the US by providing artists with funding support, resources, and community. New Music USA is very proud to be one of many partner organizations who are teaming up with the Department of Cultural Affairs and New York Foundation for the Arts on this historic effort to get federal stimulus dollars to New York City's artists. As I mentioned before, closed captioning and ASL interpretation are being provided tonight. And once again, we're going to be posting the slides and the recording on the New Music USA website. So don't worry if you miss anything tonight or you want to be able to share this resource with your networks. All right, I'll go ahead and dive in. Our agenda this evening is going through these items. These are the main subject areas, and after each one, we're going to be providing a recap slide of the most important takeaways for you. And at that time, we'll be pausing to answer any questions that anyone might have. So if something comes to you during a certain section, we will have time at the end of that section to answer your questions. And we will also have time at the very end of the presentation to answer your questions too. If anything comes up tonight for you that we can't answer, we'll give you our email address so that you're able to reach out to us and we can get answers for you that way. And you're also welcome to use that email address anytime anything comes up so that we can support you in this application process. All right, so we'll start with a little overview for anyone new to this program. City Artist Corps grants are intended to support New York City-based working artists who have been disproportionately impacted by COVID-19. So there are one-time $5,000 grants being distributed to over 3,000 artists. So that's $15 million into the pockets of New York City artists. This funding is coming from federal stimulus money to help New York City recover from the pandemic. The grants will help artists sustain their practice and engage the public across New York City's 5 boroughs between July and October. And we're going to get into all of the details around that just in a minute. All right, so now we're going to talk about eligibility. So applicants must live in New York City. They must be 21 or older as of June 8th, 2021. They must have a social security number, individual taxpayer identification number, or an employer identification number. And finally, they must also be a practicing artist. So once again, you must be New York City based. So you must live in one of the 5 boroughs of New York City and be able to prove it. You have to have maintained residency in New York City since at least January 2020. So if you moved to New York after that date, or you moved away and then you came back, you are not eligible. To prove that you are a New York City resident and that you have lived here during that time, you will need to provide an official document that states your name and has your New York City address. And this document must be from October, November, or December of 2020. This I'm going to highlight because this was an error that we heard from NYFA that they saw on the the applications that have come in so far. So this is something really important to make sure you have if you are going to be applying, that you have your New York City address from these time periods and that it has your full name. So some examples include utility bills, bank statements or bills, credit card statements, residential leases, roommate agreements, rent receipts or proof of rent, studio leases, valid government IDs, or any other form of official documentation. So if you're going to present one of these items, it has to be, again, from October, November, or December of 2020, and it must have your New York City address, and it must have your name. For the proof of age, that you're 21 or older as of June 8, 2021, you'll need to provide a US passport or a New York State driver's license. You could do ID NYC or another state issued ID that has your birthday on that. You must have one of these identification numbers. You will not be asked to provide this with your application, but if you are awarded a grant, you will need to provide this in order to receive your funding. And finally, the big component here is that you must also be an individual artist with a demonstrated, sustained, and ongoing creative practice, and you must be able to provide documentation that proves that. So we'll get into that also in a little bit, but first, just want to emphasize that this is open to artists in all disciplines. So we know that we have a lot of folks from the music community here, but since we also have people from other disciplines joining, we're going to go through this list. This can include all of the items here: craft textile artists, including those working in ceramics, glass, wood, metal, fiber, mixed media, all forms of dance and choreography. It also includes community arts, design and architecture, including functional design and environmental design. This also includes digital and electronic arts, folk and traditional arts, interdisciplinary work, literary arts, including fiction, nonfiction, poetry, playwriting, and screenwriting. And it includes music and sound, including musicians, composers, working in any and all styles of music. This also includes theater and performance, including directing, live action, and puppetry. It includes video and film of all forms, and the visual arts, including painting, photography, printmaking, drawing, and sculpture. So grantees can work with other artists, collaboratives, or organizations on your project that you're applying for a grant for, but the funds are only going to be awarded to individual artists. So you should only apply as an individual, not on behalf of a collective. However, funds can be awarded to more than one individual that is a part of this collective. So if you want to do a collaboration with other people on an event, you should apply as an individual, and your collaborators should also apply. To demonstrate that you are an artist with an active practice, you must also provide documentation of that practice from 2019, 2020, or 2021. Here are some examples of the kind of documentation you could provide. It could be a work sample, such as a publication of a literary work you wrote, or a link to a performance that you were a part of. It could also be a program from one of those performances. It could be a news item or press release or a link to something on social media that's documenting that that work took place. You could also include a letter from a presenter or a director, curator, someone that you worked with on a project stating the project that you took part in and that it occurred during those times. Again, I'm going to emphasize that it has to be from 2019, 2020, and 2021, and these samples have to have those dates on them. This was another common error that came up in some of the applications received so far, and that will make the samples ineligible if they do not include these dates on them. In addition to those samples, you need to provide a resume, a CV, or a brief bio that describes your artistic work from 2019, 2020, or 2021. So when you submit this, make sure that the descriptions cover those dates, because that is one more example of something that has been an issue on previous applications. And fortunately for everyone here, Monisha is going to go through a slide later with a compilation of all of those common errors that have been seen so far so that you can avoid them when you submit your application. So now we're going to talk about who is not eligible. Applicants cannot be enrolled in a degree-seeking program. Cultural workers, such as managers, publishers, administrators, are not eligible. However, if they have their own personal artistic practice outside of their professional life, then they are eligible to apply, as long as they can provide the documentation that we've been talking about that proves that they have an active artistic practice. Employees of the City of New York Foundation for the Arts, or any partnering organization supporting City Artists Corps, such as our employees at New Music USA and our board members and immediate family members, are not eligible. So to recap, here's our recap slide. You are eligible if you live in New York City and you have documentation proving this from October, November, or December 2020. You are 21 or older as of June 8th, 2021. You can provide one of these ID numbers if you receive the grant. And also you can provide documentation proving that you are an artist with an ongoing creative practice. And I will pause now to see if we have any questions coming in about any of these areas. We'll also have time later to answer any questions that, that aren't covered in the presentation. And again, please reach out to us at communications@newmusicusa.org if you have any questions after this. And so we just got a great question asking if poll workers are eligible, and that I have to verify. Some of these kind of detailed questions we're gonna look into and get back to you, because we want to make sure we're giving the most accurate answers that we can. I think that if you are not on a payroll, then you do not count as a worker for the city, because a poll worker is a volunteer role, but we're gonna check on that and get back to you. So if you don't mind emailing that question to us, that would be great. We also got a question about some of the applications from different cycles. We're going to get into the cycle nuances in just a few minutes here, but for anyone who's wondering what the approach is for when you're actually applying, you will apply for just one project. Right now we're in the third and final cycle. So if you have applied to previous cycles, but you were not awarded a grant, you will automatically be eligible to receive a grant in cycle 3. But we have a question coming in about submitting an application for a completely new project. And that we're going to have to double check on, because if you're submitting an application for something and you no longer want to do the original project that you applied for, we'll have to check on how that works. So to the person that asked that question, if you don't mind emailing that to us, that would be really great. And then we also have a question about applying as an artist or a corporation. I don't see, I guess
this would be a grant, sorry. This would be a grants to individuals. So you can't apply on behalf for your corporation. You can only apply for you as an individual artist. So hopefully, if you have further questions about that, please email us. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And for proof of ongoing practice, from my understanding, it can be from 2019, 2020, or 2021. So it does not have to be all 3 years, but that's a great question. Thank you. All right, great. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the public engagement requirement. So the event must have an arts or creative focus. It must occur in one of New York City's 5 boroughs, and it must take place before October 31st, 2021. A live event is strongly encouraged. However, it is understandable that it could be unsafe to engage in live in-person performance for some individuals, and those are welcome to apply for online activity that will still engage the public. The event can be indoors or outdoors, and the event must be free. However, it can be ticketed for space or public safety reasons. There are a broad range of creative engagement activities that would qualify. It's very, very open and very flexible. So it could be a live performance, such as a concert, a recital, a reading, a play. It could be a public screening of a film or another type of media work. It could be an art exhibit at a community center or other public or private venue, including an apartment or gallery setup. It could be a live art making experience, such as a painting of a mural. It could be a workshop. It could be an artist talk. It could be a demonstration or a studio tour. And it could also be an open rehearsal. So there are really no limits on what form this might take. The takeaway here is that it doesn't have to be elaborate and it doesn't have to be expensive to qualify. Your activity can be part of an established or recurring program that's already planned. It can be part of an existing festival or program, or you can schedule it independently, and it can be for a new project. Again, more than one artist can apply for the same project, and projects can involve other artists. Creative engagements do not need to feature new work. and they don't need to be a final production or a completed work. It's also okay if you state time and place to be determined in your application. If you do receive funding, the partner organizations have many resources to help the grantees with permits and with venues. So that's something that we can help you figure out at a later stage. So the documentation requirement is a final report and 2 photographs. These photographs do not have to be professionally taken. These just have to be photographs that are documenting that your public engagement activity took place. So to recap, these are the things the projects must have. They must have an arts or creative focus, and they must occur in one of the 5 boroughs. They must be completed before October 31st, 2021. Live events are strongly encouraged, but applicants with disabilities who are immunocompromised or who have circumstances that do not allow for in-person events are welcome to apply for a live online activity that will engage with the public. The events must be indoors or outdoors, and they must be free to the public. The time and place of events can be open-ended right now, can be determined later. And again, resources will be provided to help obtain permits or find venues. And the event examples that you could apply for include live performances, screenings, exhibitions, workshops, artistic talks or demonstrations, studio tours, or open rehearsals. And these can be part of an existing program, or they can be standalone, and they do not need to feature new work or need to be a final production or completed work. So I will pause there to see if we have any questions about the public engagement activity component. So we got a question about if grant money was received, is it okay for that to go to the artist if there's just a solo artist? And yeah, that is definitely okay. And we'll get into how the money can be used in a little bit, but it is very flexible. You actually do not even need to spend the grant money that you receive on the project. Okay. So I'm going to move now into the evaluation criteria. We did just get, pardon me, we did just get a question about some permits in parks and what kinds of permits might be needed. In which case, that'll be a question that we can help out with on an individual basis because every scenario might be a little different. So if you have questions about permits, please go ahead and email those to us at communications@newmusicusa.org. I seem to be going. There we go. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so going into the evaluation criteria. So cycles 1 and 2 are now over. They were a weighted lottery prioritizing New York City's hardest hit zip codes, annual household income, and an applicant's disability status. We are currently in cycle 3. It's just opened this week and runs through August 10th. And this is a weighted lottery also that is prioritizing some additional criteria. And that includes zip code, disability status, annual household income, race and ethnicity, gender identity, sexuality, country of origin and language, and artistic discipline. Applications will not be evaluated on artistic merit or achievement, nor on the quality or originality of the proposed creative engagement activity. So, to recap, applications will not be evaluated on artistic merit or achievement, nor on the quality or originality of the proposed engagement activity. Cycle 2 is a weighted lottery prioritizing New York City's hardest hit zip codes, annual household income, and the applicant's disability status. And cycle 3 is the cycle we're in right now. It's the last and final cycle. And it is also a weighted lottery that prioritizes additional criteria. So that includes the same as before, as well as the race and diversity, gender identity, sexuality, country of origin language, and artistic discipline. Okay, so I'll pause there to see if there are any questions about the evaluation criteria. I see a question about getting information on how many applicants are seeking how many grants. We do not have that data, but we could try to get that and share that. If you can email us at communications@newmusicusa.org, we can look into that for you. Thank you, Michelle. And thank you, Alana, for helping out with the questions also. Right, great. Yeah, and any questions? We also have a question about getting data on if disciplines, which disciplines were already favored. And so if you can email that question to us, we can see what we're able to get and to share. Thank you so much. All right. Well, I think that is it for questions about evaluation criteria. So now I'll pass things over to Monisha.
Hi, everyone. So I'll be talking about the money. And so basically, like Jill had mentioned, the grants are $5,000 each, and they're going to more than 3,000 artists. And that's $15 million to artists in New York City. So the way it'll work is that you'll, if you're a grantee, you'll get $4,000 upfront. And then once you've submitted your final report, you'll get the second installment of $1,000. So, and like we mentioned, the final report is 2 photographs and something written. There are no budgets that you have to submit. Yeah, you don't have to submit a project budget. You don't even need to talk about how you spend the funds. So this is how you would like to spend it. I mean, and you can spend it on your public engagement, or you don't have to. But this is basically almost relief money. So it's not really, you know, you have the flexibility of spending it however you like to. So just to recap, so it's a $5,000 grant. You do not have to provide a project budget, and you may spend the money as you wish. So any questions? Okay, so I don't see any questions right now. We can move forward to timeline. So we're
in cycle 3, the final cycle. So there were 3 cycles, 1 and 2 have been completed. So cycle 1 and cycle 2 are closed. Cycle 2 applicants will receive their notification Monday, August 2nd. So make sure you check your spam folders or anything, that day to make sure, please be expecting an email if you applied for cycle 2. And cycle 3, it opened July 27th and it will close August 10th. Notifications will be sent out August 25th, and your engagements should be between September 3rd to October 31st. And any eligible applicants who are not awarded in cycle 1 or cycle 2 and whose proposed projects are flexible or fit in the next cycle will automatically be included to cycle 3. And no matter what, the projects need to happen by October 31st. And after then, you need to submit your final report. It would probably be through Submittable, and it'll be due November 21st. Again, 2 photographs and an audience numbers should be included. So to recap, cycle 2 is closed, but you'll get notification on August 2nd. Cycle 3 was open July 27th and will close on August 10th. And applicants will be notified August 25th, so be on the lookout. Eligible applicants who were not awarded a grant and whose proposals project dates are flexible or eligible for the next cycle will be automatically sent to the next cycle. And the creative engagements need to happen by October 31st. And then final reports are due November 21st to receive your final installment of $1,000. So any questions about timelines or deadlines? So I'm getting a question. So was it 1,000 recipients per cycle? I don't have that data, and please email us and we can find out. Okay, so we'll move on to the application. The application is very simple, but there are some things to look out for. These are common application mistakes that NYFA has noticed. And actually, it goes on for any application that anyone applies for. So information relating to the applicant's sustained commitment to artistic practice. So they've noticed that there were missing work samples. There were broken URL links. The bios did not include artistic practice accomplishments. There were also no activity dates from 2019 to 2021 in the CV. So that was something that was missing. The uploaded additional information, particularly uploaded work samples, did not include dates or dates within the acceptable time frame. So make sure you specify the dates and you have the right dates. There were issues with information relating to the applicant's New York City proof of residency. So applicants need to submit documentation confirming New York City residency from October, November, or December 2020, and documents that reflect dates outside that time frame do not prove eligibility. The residency documents need to clarify and show all following all the following: applicant's name, the full New York City address, the date either October, November, or December 2020, and the best form of documentation to satisfy the requirement is a copy of a utility bill or a letter of a notification sent to the applicant's residence address. So that was another mistake. There were also mistakes about proving age. So the proof of age so basically proof of age document need to list your name and the date of birth. And also another place where they found issues were proposed creative public engagement outline. So the outline of the project did not clearly identify how it was public facing. So they couldn't tell whether it was public and free. And the outline projects were happening outside of New York City. So really you have to make sure that the proposed projects are within New York City and it's clear that it is in your application. You can move to the next slide. So where you would apply would be through Submittable. And you can, there is a link to Submittable on the NYFA website. And yes, and all. And before you begin, gather your proof of New York City residency, your proof of age, your resume, CV, or brief biography, documentation of creative practice, and a description of your proposed public engagement activity. And of course, you will need internet connection, a computer, an email address. You'll need to upload copies of documents. So you would need access to a scanner or take photographs of your documents. You could have a family member, friend, or support person to help you complete the application on behalf of the artist. And completing the application takes less than an hour. They've really made this application process really simple. So, and you can save your application and come back to it and finish it later. So you don't have to worry about logging in and then having to finish it in one sitting. So it'll save automatically with your profile in Submittable. And we have some useful links. This power presentation will be available, so you can click on these links for guidelines, for FAQs, for applications, and for support. And there are language services, so applications can be submitted in Spanish, simplified Chinese, or traditional Chinese. We also have further resources that are available in Arabic, Bengali, French, Haitian Creole, Hindi, Korean, Polish, Russian, and Urdu. And if you need access or you know someone who needs access, then please let us know and we can connect you to the proper people in our group to help you. And there are one-on-one sessions. So you could visit the NYFA's technical assistance schedule on their website, or we can help you find that assistance. And again, you can email us at communications@newmusicusa.org. So just to recap, to apply, you'll need proof of New York City residency, proof of your age, resume, CV, or brief biography, however, whichever you wish, documentation of your creative practice, and description of your proposed public engagement activity. And again, you'll be able to save your application and come back to it at a later time. And there are language options available to help you. So are there any questions about completing the application? There's a question, can you complete it yourself? Yes, I mean, you can complete it by yourself. It's, or if you want help, you can contact us and we can guide you to, in helping you in completing. Okay. So any other questions, general questions? We have a question, what's considered public engagement? So that would be basically a performance or your artistic discipline being displayed publicly, and it needs to be free. And we also would like it to be outside, but it's not necessary. So
Exactly. And it has to be in New York City, in one of the 5 boroughs. Yep, park is okay. And if you are interested in getting help, being linked up with a potential venue, the partner organizations have resources to help with that. So just drop us an email at communications@newmusicusa.org. And again, there's a lot of flexibility in lots of different aspects of this, but certain things are really, really concrete that they have to be. And so for the public engagement requirement, it has to be in one of New York City's 5 boroughs. It has to have an arts or creative focus, and it must take place before October 31st, 2021. Like Manisha said, it can be indoors or outdoors, but it must be free. And so otherwise there's a lot of creativity with what it can be. And we're going to post our slides on our partner page on our website, newmusicusa.org. And so you'll be able to review the PowerPoint that we shared this evening. We'll also have the recording of this evening's presentation on our website as well, so you can refer back to it.
There's a question about, do you need to prove income? You don't need to prove your income. What you tell us is in good faith, and
so we have a question, how many work samples are needed? And so Michelle just answered that, that you can include up to 5. We have a question about if the event can be just a one-off event, and yes, that it can just be a one-off event, or it can be a part of an existing series of events.
I can actually answer this next one if you want, Jill.
Okay. Yeah.
No, because I went through this application form, so I understand the confusion around the permits. So Martin is asking about getting permits to play in parks. There is a new initiative by the New York City government called Open Culture. It functions to allow performers or any other artistic disciplines to close off a section of a street to perform. I will send a link in the chat to apply for that, because they are in a way trying to link this grant initiative with that new program to help connect the two. But if you do end up contacting NYFA or us again, that's probably going to be the most recommended answer and probably the easiest access to a public performance permit at this time.
Thank you. Great. Again, please email us if we didn't get to your question or we didn't answer it. completely for you tonight, please email us at communications@newmusicusa.org. Michelle just dropped a link in the chat to the guidelines around the open culture series that she was talking about. Thank you. Again, cycle 3 closes on August 10th. So you've got some time, but it's good to start getting all of these pieces together that Manisha talked about, so that if you do have any questions about if something would qualify or be eligible, you can email us while you're getting everything together, so that you're not feeling frantic at the last minute. All right. So we got a question about collaborative work. If there's a special way, it should be noted on the application. That is a good question. I don't, Michelle, do you happen to remember if there's a field that you have to indicate if it's a collaborative work, or you
I
can
believe
just...
I believe on the application there is an option to include artists that are involved with your creative project, but it clarifies that like you or someone is applying on your behalf. Therefore, if you were awarded the project, the grant money would be going to you, and how you disperse those funds is obviously up to the grantee. But I believe that there is a field where it indicates if you are collaborating with other artists as part of your public engagement activity.
Thank you.
And you could probably put that in the project description in itself. So
Yep, that makes sense. Thank you. All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for sharing your evening with us. Again, please email us with any additional questions that come up for you, or if we didn't answer your question fully this evening, and we'll get an answer for you as soon as we can. We wish you all best of luck with your applications. Please share this recording, this PDF for the PowerPoint with anyone in your network. We are hoping that this information reaches as many people as possible. So best of luck, and looking forward to seeing what wonderful projects you share with New York City.